Welcome to Flourish. I'm Diane Planidin, and you're in the right place if you're ready to create an inspired life. We are so excited. This is our third season of the Flourish show, and it's back to routine, back to the normal schedule, and back to reality. It's the end of summer here, and we really love it when we have routine. So I'm hoping you love to have a routine as well, or maybe you don't know what a routine actually looks like for you, and you're trying to work out the new schedule. Whether you're still homeschooling or your kids are back to school, whether you're still working from home or you're partially back to work, or if your life hasn't even changed, this episode is for you because everything we do that leads to success, to leads to what we want in life, that leads to that change we want to be in the world, thank you, Gandhi, is all about routine, scheduling, and leaving a glimmer of spontaneity in there. You can't absolutely schedule everything, although I really am one for having as much of my day planned out as possible, keeping in mind there might be some changes along the way. And actually, I had a change today in my schedule. I wasn't even supposed to be recording. I was supposed to be somewhere else, and the other person's schedules changed, and I thought, you know what? Today's the perfect day. Let's record the routine and talk about how you need to keep in mind a little bit of flexibility. So what does your routine look like for you? Well, number one, my biggest tool is a wall calendar. Yes, a paper wall calendar. And the more people you have involved in your scheduling and your routine, the bigger the calendar might get. So you don't want to overwhelm yourself. Or if you have, let's say, a parenting situation where you have to be at school, you have to be on the soccer field, you have to be other places, and you also need to make time for yourself. It's all about the scheduling. The routine ritual is so important and very important for your own success, but even more important for your child's success. So what does a routine look like for you? Well, a lot of things you're doing already by automatic habit, and that is the success tool. You begin at the starting line, and you realize that if I don't get up in time, then Johnny's not going to get to the school on time, then I won't get to work on time. So you've already got a lot of those components in there. What you need to do, and this is my own findings, and I've actually researched this as well with respect to other scientists and what they do, but the bottom line is schedule as much as possible, but don't overload your schedule because the routine is important to keep it, to make it a habit. And you can play with this a little bit. If you think, oh, what about me and my workout routine? I'm used to working at home. I'm used to working out at home. I'm used to a lot of things. But now the world is shifting again, and where we're working and living and being is shifting again. So you have to pivot. And the best way to pivot is put it up on a wall. You don't even have to buy a fancy calendar. Go to the store and buy a big white piece of paper or whatever color you like, it doesn't matter, and draw your own calendar, whatever it takes. And remember, the key here is not to overload. When I was raising my son and he had a heavy school workload because he did grow up viewing advanced studies, and that takes a lot of discipline and structure. But he also needed time to be a kid. And the reason I'm giving you his example is because it was scheduled time for working on schoolwork, scheduled time for having a little hobby, maybe playing soccer, whatever, and scheduled time for just downtime. So many people these days are on their weapons of mass distraction in the form of, iPhones or iPads or whatever electronic device you use, it is a distraction. If you know that, then schedule that. And you schedule that because now you use those tools as a reward. Let's say you come home after work, you want a little downtime. You want to just decompress. Give yourself 30 minutes. Say, 30 minutes, I'm just going to do whatever I feel like. And in 30 minutes from now, I am going to start dinner. In 30 minutes from now, I am going to walk the dog. In 30 minutes from now, I'm going to sit down with my children and work on my homework while they're working on their homework. In 30-minute intervals, there's a reward at the end of that. It's just long enough to actually get something done and then move on. So the reward system works really, really well, because if you have children at home or you have your own little social media habit, you want to say, okay, my reward is going to be, after this 30 minutes of work, I'm going to play Super Mario. I'm going to get online. I'm going to just, see what's happening on Facebook. Whatever that is to you as a reward. The other thing is, because now your schedule's in front of you, in front of your family, in front of clear focus, you will see what you're doing. You won't even have to think about it. But you have to remember, keep it flexible and keep fine-tuning it to see what works for you best. In the beginning, it will be painful. In the beginning, you will be frustrated. But in the beginning, just remember, the more frustrated you are, the more difficult this seems, the closer you are to achieving that change, achieving that habit change, whatever you want to call it, the success tool. It reminds me of the famous dancer, Twyla Tharp. She, to this day, bless her heart, an icon. Yes, an American iconic dance choreographer. She's world famous. She only had one thing to do every day. Her important priority, the first priority in her life, was to get in a taxi every morning. If she could get dressed in her workout clothes and get into that taxi, the rest of the day was gravy. So that's a little key trigger for her. Okay, you're not a dancer. What do you need to do? What do you need to trigger? What needs to happen? And the more people you have involved in this scheduling, the more you have to be aware. So don't overload the schedule. Your child does not need to play soccer, basketball, hockey, and be on the pep squad. You pick one hobby and you really dedicate to that. See if you really like it. And even for yourself. I've been working out at home now, I guess it's been almost 2 years. I don't know. It's a blur with this whole pandemic. But I really had to figure out what worked for me. Because when I used to go to the gym, it would be after work, 5 p.m., stop at the gym on my way home before I got into everybody else's routine. Now, working at home, I thought, how does this work? So I tried the morning, I tried the evening, I tried even in the middle of the day, because I thought, wow, yeah, I feel like a little activity, get the heart pumping again. That was, for me, a real big struggle, trying to find the perfect time of working out at home. And I thought, how come this isn't working the same as it would be if I went to the gym? And it was all about knowing your surroundings, working in your environment, creating your environment. Remember, routine needs a nest to build upon. And I've done many episodes on that, which I'll link into the show notes as well. But I did make a quick little note here that I also wanted to make sure that you understood the point of what the routine is workshopping it for yourself, workshopping it for your family, and getting into that. I mean, think of world athletes, world-class athletes. They have a routine, they have a regimen, they have habits. And they also have little superstitious things, but it works for them because they work at it every day. And their routine is all about repetition. It's fall, it's time to get back to work, back to a schedule, because before you know it, it'll be the end of the year and you'll be like, what just happened there? So I wanted to make sure you realize that if you optimize the beginning, if you started today to work out the routine, to work out what you were doing, to figure out your reward system, and then think, if you didn't do this, if you didn't start with a new routine, new rejuvenation, it's so important, because 3 months from now, you're going to be in the exact same place and you're going to be, man, why didn't I start that calendar? Man, why didn't we think about what our day looks like? Let's not live life willy-nilly. Control your day. And that requires practicing both mentally, physically, on paper. If you write it down, the odds of it happening are so much better. And then you get this pattern of success that just keeps building upon itself. It's like building blocks, building more and more routine. And the other thing I wanted to remind you about is make sure you leave time for flexibility. It can be overwhelming sometimes because you make all these plans and you're like, oh, the hockey team was supposed to go to another city this weekend and I took time off work so I could be with the hockey team, but the hockey team's schedule changed, so now I have to change my schedule. And sometimes you just have to go with the flow. You just keep moving forward. There's some beautiful, beautiful sayings about going with the flow and flowing with water. And if you even just think about it, it's actually quite peaceful. So when you're looking to build a better schedule, you need to build a routine, and you need to have it front and center. Put it right in front of your eyes. Maybe you have more than one calendar. Maybe you have a calendar in the bathroom. Maybe you have one in the kitchen. Maybe you have a weekly calendar. Maybe you have a little family moment and you say, hey guys, this is what's happening this week. Anything else I need to know? Hey guys, this is where I'm at this week. This is what I need to get done. And the more you communicate, the better it is, because you can see the clear picture. You can see it clearly. That is why school works so well. I'm not talking about teachers. I'm not talking about education. I'm talking about the school schedule, why it works so well. Students, whether you're in elementary school or if you're doing your master's degree, there is a schedule. And the reason those work so well is because you as a student don't have to think about, where do I have to be right now? Oh yeah, nowhere. Oh yeah, no, actually, yeah, I do have that physics class. Let's go. And when you're in school, you get into that routine and you get into those habits of where you're going, what you're doing, what you need to do, what the end result is. But it all starts at one point, the schedule. And everything is planned out. And it's planned out for your own success. So do the same thing at home. You know the school schedule, you know your work schedule. Plan out your home schedule, and it becomes a routine, and it becomes automatic that you come home. I'm going to use the homework example. You come home, your kids have a 30-minute break. You sit down, you're doing your homework. Maybe you have some work homework. You sit down with your children. Make it a thing. Make it a nest. Make it a very specific area that you do this work in. 30 minutes, mini break. During that mini break, maybe you're the parent and you should be making dinner. That's okay. You don't need a mini break as much as the kids do, but there's always a reward, because then you can say in 30 minutes, oh, time's almost up. Let's finish up. It's all about the schedule, ringing the bell, moving to the next required destination, but keeping a little flexibility in there. Maybe you have soccer practice, maybe you want to go to the gym, or maybe it's piano and you have to build that in too. The more you can structure, the more flexibility you have. When people talk about time blocking, it sounds so regimented, it drives me cuckoo bera. I just like to say routine. This is what I'm doing. I have to get up at this time in order for all of these dominoes to come in place. Because if I don't, then the dominoes will fall down and then we have to build them all up again. Oh, I'm so excited for fall. It's a beautiful time of year, and it's a beautiful time to set your routine, set yourself up on the path to success, and help those you mentor, influence, love, parent, help them succeed. Because we don't know how to do these things until we do it. And that's the best way to learn, and that's sometimes the most painful way to learn. But the frustration means you're getting closer. You're getting closer and you're working on it. Give yourself some time. Go buy that big piece of paper, that big calendar, set it up for the family, set it up for each individual, set it up for yourself. And when you start finding that flow, that routine, it'll become habit, and then you'll lead a more inspired life. I'm Diane Planidin, wishing you a wonderful day. I'll see you again soon.